Yay! My cousin is getting married. Stay tuned to learn more about 3 card techniques along with making a card from start to finish. Hey, welcome back. I'm Scott, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and this is my YouTube channel, Stamping Scott. Thanks for coming back. Today we're going to be making a card from start to finish. That means if you had the supplies with you, you could follow me step by step. We are going to also discover 3 different techniques. One is called Stampin' Off, another one is embossing with a heat tool, and the third is die cutting. Please remember that if you like what you see, give me a thumbs up and please subscribe. I also love your comments. You know how much I ask for them. I love your comments. If you notice, the tree went away behind me and I went to IKEA and found some lights instead. So this is the card we're creating today. Please join me in my craft room and I'll take you through the card design step by step and show you 3 popular techniques along the way. I can't wait to share this moment with you. Hey everybody, welcome back to my craft room. We are going to assemble this wedding card that I've been designing for my cousin's wedding this weekend. It's so simple, and I just want to share with you the step-by-step process and how this goes together by using a really cool stamp set called Flourishing Phrases. This set's really great for weddings. It's great for cards with sympathy, ways to brighten your days up with really great spiritual sentiments, and even a congratulations. Today I decided to choose Marriage is a Journey. On the inside, you'll notice that when I open it, it says, "Good thing you get to bring your best friend along." A great saying for a wedding, because marriage is truly a journey. It's something you really have to work at. With wedding cards, you want to keep it simple. You want to choose a monochromatic color, one color, and then white, or maybe white and black, or white and gray. And I choose colors that are not bold, but more pastel-y. So today we're working with Balmy Blue. I still don't really understand what the word balmy is, so let's get some help from our little friend over here. Hey Google, what does balmy mean?
Here's the definition of balmy, of the weather pleasantly warm.
Okay, so it refers to being something pleasant and nature. Okay, thank you, Google. Anyway, so we're working with Balmy Blue, and this is a really fun color for this occasion. Also, like mint macaron would be really nice too. So some of the things that we'll be working with today that are a lot of fun is this polka dot tulle ribbon. One of my favorites, it's Whisper White with the polka dots. It's just really cool, it's stretchy. Also working with some framelits. This is one of my most favorite framelit sets in the whole world. It's Layering Ovals Framelit Die Set, and we're using 2 of those today. Okay, so let's kind of go through some of the basic measurements and elements. So we have two cuts of Whisper White, cut at 5 1/4 by 4 inches. 1 cut of Vellum cardstock, also cut at 5 1/4 by 4 inches. A cut of Balmy Blue cardstock. This one is cut at 4 1/4 by 11 inches. And we're gonna score it at 5 1/2 because this type of card is a stand card. And you can see it kind of stands up like this. See? I like the stand card. It creates a nice presentation. And I just thought of it too, the Balmy Blue is kind of perfect because they always say, wear something blue, something new. So, hey, what the heck? It works. So let's go do this. This is a super simple card. I want to show you how easy it is to put this card together. I want to go ahead and score it at the 5 1/2 inch mark. We've got a really cool little toy from Stampin' Up! And it's called our Simply Scored. And there's a tool in here that looks like this. It's got like a little ball point, and then you're gonna find the groove. Now I've already marked it off at 5 1/2 here. So as long as I put the cardstock right in a quarter, and I just find that groove where that 5 1/2 inches, and I just pull it down like that, it scores the fibers down. So that way when I fold the card, it's making an even crease. You always wanna fold it on the same side that you scored it. I don't know if that makes any sense, so I wanna go ahead and fold it down, just like that. There, so there's our fold. We'll put this away, front. And we're going to have some fun. We're gonna learn a technique here called stamping off. Doesn't that sound like fun? So stamping off is basically when you use the second generation of ink on your cardstock. So I'm gonna open up the Balmy Blue here. I love our Stampin' pads. They're so easy to open. And I'm gonna take a piece of scrap paper here that I'm gonna use to stamp off. By the way, this is called grid paper. It's the best thing to stamp with so you can easily stamp off of your page. So I'm gonna put that down here. Okay. I think this is a chrysanthemum from the Flourishing phrases. I'm going to go ahead and ink my stamp. Stamping is so much fun. There we go. And I just kind of move it around a little bit to make sure that the ink covers the whole image. And what I want to do with this is stamp first on the paper and then stamp on the card. So I'm stamping and giving it a second generation. See how dark this is right here? By stamping off the first stamp onto a piece of paper, then going onto my cardstock with the second stamping of that same ink, you get a nice lighter color. We're gonna do that a couple times. You also notice too that I'm stamping off the edge of the card. And you'll notice that I just made a mistake. Mistakes happen all the time in the stamp room, let me tell you. It's every day of my life. I'll do exactly the opposite of what I say. It's just kind of fun. But the good news about stamping is that you always have another side. So guess what? We can flip that over. Ah, look at that. How easy is that? And this could be fun to have two different color variations. And this kind of gives you an idea that you can take one ink color and get two colors out of it. How cool is that, right? I think it's very versatile. But for this card, I want it to be monochromatic. I want just one tone of color. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that again. So stamp off one, and then stamp down. And what's cool is that when you stamp off the edge of the paper, it just looks like it's more of a design. You don't have to try to worry about taking this image and fitting it perfectly in a stamp. You want things to kind of float off the page. It gives it more of a natural look. So there we go, that's the first layer of our card. And that's the first technique. That technique was called Stampin' Off. See? Look at that. See how that's coming together already? All right. So the next thing I want to do, as long as I got my Balmy Blue open, I want to go ahead and stamp this image, which is A Marriage is a Journey. And then I also want to stamp these pieces on the inside. Now for those two, I used the first generation of ink to stamp those, whereas on the back side, I used the second generation. Grab a scrap piece of paper. I'm going to go ahead and take my Marriage is a Journey stamp. Go ahead and lightly apply some ink to my stamp. And I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it anywhere, just like that. Doesn't matter that it's crooked or not straight because I'm going to die cut this and that's going to determine how straight it looks. So I'm going to put that aside until I get the die cutter. All right, now I'm going to take care of the inside of the card. Get the chrysanthemum flower again. I love this stamp so much. All right, and I'm going to use the first generation for the inside of the card, and I'm going to place it at the top like this. Once again, we're stamping off the edge. Now I'm going to take the flourishes, and I'm only going to cover a part of that image because I'm not putting the whole image on the card. I'm going to go down here, put it in the corner like this. Push down. Never rock your stamps, you guys. I know it's really tempting, but don't rock your stamps. That way you're assured to get a better image. Cool. Now I have the sentiment on here. By the way, these stamps are what we call clear mount stamps. That's because they are rubber stamps that mount to a clear block. Now in the new catalog that's coming out on June 4th, this particular stamp set will be a cling mount stamp, which means it has more of a sticky side to it. But for now, I have the one that was called the Clear Mount Stamp. And I'm just going to kind of eyeball this and try to get it as centered as I can. Don't rock it. Look at how perfect that is. I can't believe I actually got that straight. And that's going to be on the inside of the card. Look at how fast this card's coming along. Okay, we're going to put that to side. We're going to close up our Balmy Blue ink pad. See how neat those go together? Now, welcome to the world of keeping organized and clean. This is called a Stampin' Scrubber pad. I cannot live without this in stamping. If I stamp, I have to have one of these around. And that's because I get ink all over my hands. But can you see I don't have any ink on my fingers right now? Well, that's because I've been very careful. If I'm not careful, I'll have ink on my face. So what's neat about Stampin' Scrubber is that you have your mist. So this is called Stampin' Mist, which is your cleaner. And then you have your scrubbing pads. Now there's a little sun logo here. I know you probably can't see that. And there's a little rain logo here. So this is where you put the mist, and this is the dry part where you scrub off on to dry the stamp. So what we do is we just spray onto this side, a couple sprays. You take your block with your rubber stamp on it, and you're just gonna go ahead and lightly scrub it with the wet side, and then you're gonna come over to the dry side to clean it. And see, nice and clean. Same with this one. Here. Keeps everything clean. And I'll tell you something, when you clean your stamps off, even if you're doing multiple cards, a lot of times the ink will get on these edges of the rubber, and you'll have that one moment you're not thinking, you push down too hard, and that ink that's on the side will end up on your card. So keeping your stamps clean from time to time really helps get you the best stamped image. Here we go. And you get to fold it up and put it away. It's so cool. I love the Stampin' Scrubber, and I will include the numbers for that on the screen. Very relatively inexpensive. I think Stampin' Mist is like $5, something like that. Don't quote me. And the Stampin' Scrubber I think is like $15. Okay, so let's keep going here. The next thing that we're going to do, heat embossing. That's the second technique in this video. Heat embossing is what usually gets people really excited with stamping. They're like, ooh, how did you do that? It kind of creates like a plasticky effect almost on the paper. And we use like wax particles that adhere to wherever you stamped the glue ink onto, and then you use the heat tool, like this one here, to heat it up and melt it onto the paper. You cannot use a blow dryer. If you do, it'll blow out the powder everywhere. You need something that doesn't have a lot of airflow, but more heat. The heat tool that Stampin' Up! Carries is perfect for that and very safe. This is a very, very old tool that I've had way before Stampin' Up! Had their own heat tool. I think I actually did get it with Stampin' Up!, but we're talking like 15 years ago. Let's do this. So we're gonna take our vellum cardstock. Here it is. And we're gonna go get our heat embossing tools. I have this cute little box to keep all my embossing tools in. I think I picked it up at TJ Maxx. And so I've got Verasamark Pad here, my Embossing Buddy. And then this is where I use to put my powder when I'm shaking the powder off the cardstock. All right. So before you do any kind of embossing, whatever you're stamping on, you always want to use the Embossing Buddy on it, and this is reducing the static of the fine particles. And I just kind of like go across the front of it, just like that. This is the Verasamark Pad. We want to ink up the stamp that we're going to do the embossing with. This is the Flourish. And you'll notice that since the stamp is big, I can apply the ink pad this way onto the rubber stamp versus doing it like this. I find that when the rubber stamp is big on a block like this, if I do this, it picks it up and drops it. It feels clumsy. I feel like I'm going to make a mistake. So get control over your rubber stamping and just take the pad and go on top of the ink, just like that. Go on top of the rubber stamp. Put my first impression down. And see, we'll go switch it like that. Like that. Don't rock it, just hold it down and then lift. All right, so now I'm going to put my embossing powder on it. I'll get my little bucket here. I really wish I could find more of these containers. I don't know, they are not available anymore. So I'm sure if you go on Amazon, you might be able to find one. It was like a lunch container. So I'm just gonna sprinkle the powder on the top of my images. Okay. Then I'm going to lift the edge, careful not to touch where the ink is, and just kind of lift up. There we go, shake it off. Oops, see, I missed a little bit on the corner here, so I can go ahead and reapply. There you go. Neat, huh? Isn't that cool? Now we're going to heat it with the heat tool to melt it in place, and that way I won't be able to smudge it with my fingertips. Now, if I had not used this Embossing Buddy, what would have happened is I'd have little speckles of embossing powder all over the place, and it would be very hard to remove. If you do have that happen, I usually take the point of my paper snips and just kind of take a little bit and move it off. And sometimes if I just blow on it really hard, it'll remove extra excess powder where I didn't want it. Let's see a little bit here. Okay, cool. I'm going to set this down or aside where it's not going to get bumped. And I'm going to be clean and put my powder back in the jar. So look at this. You never go through that much powder. Even though this is a tiny little jar of powder, I can make like about 50 cards and not go through this powder. So it lasts a long time. All right, we're going to stay organized here. Put this all back. Verasamark goes back in here. There you go. I'm going to go ahead and turn my heat tool on. And when you use a heat tool, you don't have to move it around. I usually just hold it still until it just starts to melt, and you'll see it turn a lighter color. There we go. Look at that. Now we got the top layer of our card. Here's my front part. We're assembling the card. Look at how fast this is coming together. Oh. I used the wrong piece of vellum, you guys. Here's my regular piece of vellum. Notice the difference here? Well, guess what? We'll just cut this part off and make it the right size. I thought something looked a little strange. That's what happens when you film at 1 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, pause this for a moment, and cut this, okay? Okay, you guys, welcome back. I trimmed this back down to the right size. You'll notice that it perfectly layers over the other cardstock to create that nice layer. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create this element up here. It's basically a whisper white piece of cardstock cut out into an oval, and then another piece of Balmy Blue underneath that has a little scalloped edge on it. And for this, we are going to be using the Layering Ovals Framelits set. So we're going to pull out the Big Shot. The Big Shot is a die cutting machine, and I have a unique looking one. Ironically, Stampin' Up! No longer sells the Big Shot, and we recommend using our dies with any die cutting machine that's similar to the Big Shot, or if you still have a Big Shot at home to use these framelits with, until Stampin' Up! Comes out with their own solution, which I'm very excited about. On the Big Shot, we have a platform. I chose to use the magnetic platform. I will talk a little bit about the benefits of a magnetic platform and sometimes why you might want to flip it over. I don't always love the magnets for a lot of reasons, but they do help when you need to. And then these are cutting plates. To save your cutting plates from getting warped really quickly is always have one that you use to cut directly on the bottom, and usually one you put on the top. Okay. We are going to cut out Marriage is a Journey. And I put my base plate down first. Then we're going to put that down, and this is going to be on an oval. And this is a magnetic platform, and you can see as I move it around, it sort of like shifts. It sort of holds it in place, so it makes die cutting a little bit easier. Sometimes the magnets get shifty and it shifts around, and I'm not always a happy camper about that, but I usually just let the magnets dictate where it wants to stay and just go with it. And then you're going to sandwich the plates, hold that down, and then crank it through. That cracking is completely normal. There you go. There we go. Look at that. See how nice that looks? All right, so that's the first one. The second one is going to be the scalloped edge. I was really excited about this card. I mean, I love making cards for special occasions, and I love it when I can design something right from the beginning and not look at anyone else's ideas. One of the things I love about card design is just playing with elements and coming up with my own designs. We all feed off of each other's inspiration. But it's fun because Stampin' Up! Makes stamping so easy. You can literally take one set and design a whole card with that one set. And that's what I love about Stampin' Up! They make it so easy to allow things to be coordinated. See how cool that is? And then you just kind of layer that. We're going to glue that so it looks like that. See? This tool does so much. There we go. So now we're going to start assembling. Look at that. We're almost done. We've got everything laid out. We've got the die cuts done. We've got the embossing done. We have the Stampin' Off done. We have our card base scored. And then we have the inside of the card. All it takes now is assembly. We're almost done with this wedding card, you guys. I also took the time to make an envelope too, and I just stamped on the edges of the envelope, and then now this is an envelope that coordinates with the card. Super easy. So let's start putting these together. Now this is a Tombow permanent adhesive. Stampin' Up's is a different color. It's very similar to this. I have a snail adhesive, but when I decided to start making videos, I can't find them anywhere. So as soon as I find my snail adhesive, you'll see it in my videos. But for now, we're gonna be using the blue one, which is the Tombow one. But you guys, you can't live without snail adhesive in card making. It's like the best thing ever. Using glue is just not fun. It warps, and unless you're doing detailed images, the Tombow adhesive or the snail is the best way to adhere things. There we go. Cool, and now it's perfect. Take our polka dot tulle ribbon, and I'm just gonna cut enough to tie a knot around the front. So just kind of pull that. These are my Stampin' Up! Paper snips. There you go. That. And I'm just gonna kind of wrap it around here. We're just gonna create a knot, because you know when you get married, you tie the knot. So we're just gonna make a knot. There you go. I was fearful that this video was going to run more than 15 minutes. Apparently that's what it's going to do. This is the first time I've attempted to do a step-by-step tutorial, but I hope you guys find this valuable. Please let me know in my comments below if you found this valuable, or do you prefer the sped up version where I do these steps and you see it quickly and I just tell you what's going on. I just thought since there's 3 techniques in this card, why not just do a step-by-step tutorial? And it's pretty simple too. But you guys tell me. You tell me what you like, because I'm more than happy to adjust the way I do things. Snip off the excess here and here, just like that. I always keep the covers just to protect the sharpness. There we go. That's just me. I love that Stampin' Up! Includes a cover on the scissors. I think that's great. All right, there we go. So look at this. We're getting there. And I'm going to leave the vellum floating. Now the secret to vellum is that you always want to find ways to not stick vellum to the cardstock, because if I were to put some adhesive here, you would see the adhesive through the translucent look of the paper. In this particular design, the ribbon's actually holding the vellum down. And when I adhere this backside to the card, that's going to be held to the card. And then when I put this over it with those little mini dimensionals, this is going to be holding the vellum over the ribbon. So it's actually going to be adhered to the card without anything really sticking to it. So it's going to stay put. It's not going to move around, you know. So it's really cool. I still want the symbolism of the vellum to kind of be a little loose, because it's like the 2 entities of life coming together. I think that's really symbolic. Maybe I'm thinking about that too deeply, huh? Okay, there we go. So we're going to adhere this. Now, you could choose to use a double-sided adhesive, something a little stronger like tear and tape. I think this is light enough that we could still use a snail adhesive. So I'm going to go ahead and just apply some adhesive here. Whenever there's ribbon on a card, I always try to put the adhesive really close to that ribbon, especially if I'm just sticking it down. That way it's going to create a better adhesion close to where the ribbon is located. It won't have the tendency to lift easily. But I do say that if you have heavier elements, you might want to use something like tear and tape, which will make sure the stuff does not ever come loose. Okay, so look at that. We're almost done. Now we're going to go on the inside of the card and we're going to adhere the sentiment on the inside. And I think I can eyeball this like that. There we go. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. There we go. I got that saying from Richard Garay. I don't know if Richard Garay is watching this. It's highly unlikely Richard's watching this video, but if he is, thank you for that really fun saying. He's a master stamp artist. Really cool guy. There we go. The one thing I love about stamping is that I get to create things that mean something and then share it with other people. And by doing so, I also am a part of a group of people who also love to do the same thing. And we all kind of share together. I have made so many incredible friends. I am a part of a team called the Pink Stampers, and I feel like I've won the lottery, honestly, because not only am I doing really fun stuff with Stampin' Up, but I'm a part of a really amazing team. Our team leader and my friend Robin is amazing, and I'm so grateful every single day. I know I'm a part of a very positive, motivated group of people that are very creative and love sharing what they love, and that means so much to me. I mean, I have a day job and I love what I do during the day. This is my fun time, and to be able to have friends like that in that world is it's just priceless. And I'm very, very grateful for that and very proud of being a pink stamper. There we go. Look at how cool this is, you guys. That's it. That's the card. That's the wedding card. It all just came together very quickly. Because I just embossed this, it still has a little bit of a curve to it. It's going to flatten out over time. But I wanted it to sort of float on the top of the card. It kind of gives that extra layer of dimension. It's almost kind of mystery, you know, like, oh, there's something under there, but I'm not sure what it is. And that's what I love about this card. And then you have the sentiment on the inside, just like that. Cool. All the products that I used in today's video, you can purchase on my website. My website is stampingscott.stampinup.net. At the end of this video, I'll have a list of all the supplies and elements that I used to create this card. The Flourishing Phrases is a stamp that is staying in the Stampin' Up! Line catalog for 2019 to 2020. And I think you'll really like it a lot. And by the way, these are the best acrylic blocks you can get. I have stamped for a long time where I've had to take rubber mounts to a clear block. And the blocks are always so thin and they're hard to grip. Stampin' Up's blocks are the best because they've got these grooves. They're nice and thick. They're easy to clean. And even make a cute little carrying case that you can get to put them in. And I finally treated myself to the case recently, so I can take them on the go if I need to. But they're really nice to have. They're very durable. They all have a letter on them. So if you see on my supply list, you see clear block D or clear block H, that little letter indicates the size of the block, and that's what that means. And you know, they're relatively inexpensive. I mean, it's a little bit of an investment, but then again, you never ever have to worry about buying another block. You know, like once you have the D block, you don't need to buy another one. So you'll have it for the rest of your stamping life. Cool. I want to thank you all for watching this video. Please leave comments below. Let me know if you thought the step-by-step voiceover was helpful. I would love to hear what you have to say. I love your feedback very much. It means a lot to me. I really appreciate you joining me, and I look forward to sharing more with you in my next video. Okay, guys, we'll see you later. Bye for now. Thanks for watching. If you like what you saw today, please give me a thumbs up and also subscribe. We'll see you very soon.